Okay, so we're going to start today with adding and subtracting polynomials, and we're going to discover that it is very similar to combining like terms, and it can be done in a variety of ways. We're still going to have to keep track of our signs, remembering that our negatives are really important, so you probably want to have open your Desmos calculator to kind of help us. So if you haven't already done that, you might want to open that up and get it on the side there so that you have it to kind of move back and forth as we are working today. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at just combining like terms. So think back to last semester where we would have to put things in order. Now we know that when we're putting things in order, we put them in order by variables that are the same, and they are written alphabetically according to power. Okay, so if I start looking at this, I have x's, y's, and numbers. So I want to start by putting my x's together. So I have a 2 and a -3, and remember, we're going to add these. So 2 plus -3 is going to give me a -1. So that's a -1x. Okay, if I move to my next set, I have a +3y and a +8y. And I'm going to add those guys. So 3 plus 8 I know is 11. So +11y. And the things that I haven't used, I have not used my -5 and I have not used my +6. So -5 plus 6 is going to give me a 1. So this is my simplified form when I'm combining like terms. Okay, now let's take a look at what is different when we're talking about adding and subtracting or combining like terms when we have a polynomial. So the difference between the top one and the bottom one is all of a sudden I see things with powers, okay? Which really doesn't change things because we know that if they're the same power and the same variables that they're like terms. So if I start with this 2x squared because that's the biggest power I have, here's its friend. And I'm still adding 2 plus 8. Well, that's 10. And notice that the coefficient changes, the power doesn't, okay? The power doesn't. All right, let's go to the next one. So I know if I'm dealing with my x squareds and they're gone, then it has to be the x's. So a +3x and a -5x. And again, I'm adding 3 plus -5. Oops, too many plus signs there. 3 plus -5. That's going to give me a -2. And what do I have left? I have a -5 and a -8. And again, I'm adding -5 plus -8. That's going to give me a -13. So here is my answer, simplified, 10x squared minus 2x minus 13. Okay, let's keep going. And let's pull these together. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this. The most important thing is that you're keeping track of your signs. The signs always stay with the numbers, and we are adding them, okay? And just because there's parentheses doesn't always mean you have to multiply because, yeah, there's a 1 here, but if I multiply by 1, does it change anything? So I can pretty much just ignore these parentheses if there's nothing but a 1 in front of them. If it's a -1, that's a different story. But if it's just a 1, I'm really just looking at the same thing. So x squared plus 2x plus -1, I'm going to go ahead and take this and write it underneath just so you can kind of see another way to possibly do this. So I see that this 2x squared is positive. So I'm going to write a 2x squared here. The minus 2x goes underneath the 2x, and then I have a +1. So at this point, I'm going to add down. I know this is a 1, so 1x squared plus 2x squared, that's a 3x squared. +2 minus 2. Well, 2 minus 2 is 0. So 2 plus a -2 is 0. So these are gone, and so are these. So my only answer on this one is a 3x squared. Okay, again, I'm going to go ahead and write this one vertically so I can look at this one. So this is a 1x, so plus a 1x and a -2. Again, I'm adding down. 4 plus 1 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do these vertically or horizontally so you can kind of see what this looks like again. So there is a like term. There is a like term. Remember, this is a 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay, so I see that I have a 2 here. The like term is the 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. The only thing that I haven't dealt with is this positive 2x, and it's going to drop. Now I need to look at this and decide if they're in the right order. Is it done? No, it's not done because I don't have my x's in descending order. So I know my 4x squared is going to be first, but my 2x and my 7 have to switch spots. So my final answer is 4x squared plus 2x plus 7. Okay, go ahead and hit pause, decide which method you want to use, and go ahead and see if you can come up with an answer on this last one. Okay, let's see how you did. So this one and this one are like terms. So 2 plus 1, that is a 3x squared. And then I have a negative 3x and a negative 2x. And remember, I'm adding. So negative 3 plus negative 2 is a negative 5x. And the 4 is going to drop. So hopefully you came up with 3x squared minus 5x plus 4. Okay, let's go ahead and do some more of these. Go ahead and hit pause and put your terms together. Decide how you want to do it. Let's make sure that we're good on these before we move on. All right, let's see how you did. So I'm going to go ahead and make some lines here, kind of show you another way to kind of mark these. 1 plus 1 is 2. Remember, these are ones. Now I'm going to go to my x's. So that's a negative 3x plus 4. Negative 3 plus 4 gives me 1, so positive 1x. And my last one, positive 2, negative 1, is a positive 1. So hopefully you came up with a 2x squared plus 1x plus 1. Okay, 4x, 2x, and negative 3x. So I'm going to add all three of these. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. And now I have to do my numbers. So I have negative 3 plus 1 plus 2. Negative 3 plus 1 plus 2 is 0. So my answer here is 3x. I don't write the plus 0. All right, let's keep going. This is a negative 1. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Positive 3x and a negative 2x is a positive 1x. So 1x squared plus 1x. All right, let's keep going on this one. So we have a 1x squared minus a 1x squared. That's 0. 2x minus 2x. That's 0. 5 minus 5, that's 0. So my answer is 0. Okay, now let's look at something a little bit different. So all of a sudden, I'm not adding anymore. I'm actually subtracting, okay? So when we see something like this, we are going to distribute. That's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to put our 1 and we're going to multiply. So this becomes negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. Negative 1 times negative 6 is a positive 6x, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and write these underneath where they're supposed to go. So the positive 2x is here. The positive 3 is here, and I can combine like terms. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. Is this in the right order? No. I have to flip these. So this is 8x minus 2. Okay, 8x minus 2. All right, let's try this one. There's a negative 1. Distribute, distribute. Negative 2x squared, negative 5. I'm going to go ahead and drop these down. And then I'm going to look for my like terms. So I have a 3x squared and a negative 2x squared. That would give me a 1x squared. Negative 5x, I don't see anybody down there that's the same. So I'm going to drop it. And last but not least, the positive 2, the negative 5, I'm adding. That's a negative 3. Okay, so all of these are subtraction. So I'll start us on the first one, and then I'm going to have you stop, hit pause, and kind of work through these. So we're going to multiply negative 2x squared, positive 2x, negative 1. And I'm going to write these underneath. 1x squared plus 2x minus 1, and I'm going to add. So negative 2 plus 1, that's a negative 1. 2 plus 2, That's a 4. -1 plus -1 is -2. Okay, hit pause and keep going. All right, let's see how you did. -1 times x is -x. -1 times -2 is +2. Again, I'm going to write these underneath. The 4x goes underneath the x. The +3 goes under the number. And I'm going to add down. -1 plus 4 is a 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay, distribute. -3x squared minus 2x minus 5. Drop my x squared plus 2. This one I'm going to do horizontally. This is a 1. So 1 plus -3 is -2. I see a 2 and a -5. That's a -3, and I haven't used my -2x. So that needs to drop. Now this is not in the right order, so I have to rewrite it and switch these two so that it's x's in descending order. -x squared, +2x, and a -4 when I distribute that -1. 2x squared minus 3x. Remember, those are going to go together. So that is a 1x squared. Those go together, -1x, and I drop my -4. Now I could also have this as x squared minus x minus 4. Remember, you don't have to write the ones. All right, let's see what you can do on your homework today. Reach out to us if you are struggling, and we'll catch you tomorrow.